career changes are not scary, even at the age of 40, as long as, given proper determination and motivation.
I applied for a job. They don't want me. And how many jobs you applied to?
Speaking of AI, this is the next big thing. I think everyone would agree.
They go through the first interview, one fail, second fail, third fail, and they're like, okay, this is not for me.
I started my first job. I thought that I cannot ask for help and I should not ask for help.
It's going to create hundreds of jobs, hundreds of new titles, new positions.
You can even go to 50 interviews and still get failed. If you want it badly, you have to go get it. For me, I knew there is no way going back to marketing. I did not want to do that.
What's up, guys?
That clap was exceptional.
Yeah, exceptional clap.
Anyways, so what's good, bro?
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know the camera's gonna turn on me immediately. But yeah, I'm good. How you guys doing?
No, I don't want to talk to him. I see him every freaking day. I just wanted to, like you said, I wanted to start grilling you. That was the point.
I mean, I see you daily. I mean,
Daily.
he was actually mentioning literally 10 minutes ago, oh, you didn't show up for my wedding. You were sick. I was actually sick in fact, and then he's gonna mention that for the rest of my life, probably.
see, for the record, I didn't say a thing. Now you brought it up, so
Okay, that's my own fault.
You brought this on yourself.
I messed it up.
So, anyways, who do we have here in this episode of our podcast?
So we have Firuz.
Firuz, but we used to call him CJ.
no idea who that is. No idea.
We still call him CJ,
yeah, we still call
aka.
CJ, and
When I first met him, actually, I thought he was a rapper, and I thought he came from US and he will be teaching us.
exactly.
That was my first thought when I saw him in a foundation year.
Exactly, and I never thought that he is Uzbek. I mean, I would never think about that.
It's
Based on his
obvious.
appearance. But I remember in the
To this
foundation,
day, I keep the same thought. I don't think he's in respect.
the first impression I had about him it was in the foundation year, and I remember like everybody gathered in the audience. It's a lot of people, 75 or 100, and it's like everybody introduces, and it's like, yeah, my name is Firuz, but you can call me CJ.
Did I say that? Did I really say that?
Yes, I remember that.
Man, what an embarrassment.
Right there, I thought,
we
what a
rewind a-
pathetic loser. I think I'm gonna hate this guy for the
What
rest
the hell
of these
is
4
CJ?
years.
Wow.
What a name.
I wish I could go back in time and wipe this off your memories because this is so embarrassing.
No, actually, I liked it. It's pretty cool. It's very unique.
Yeah, I mean,
Now
now
he's-
we know him as a CJ, and I mean, we got used to it, and it's more than okay. We're comfortable
CJ,
with that. So
Firuz,
Whatever works with you. Yeah.
Kanye West of Tashkent, or
Yeah.
MJS. He
It
used to rap,
actually-
remember?
yeah, I remember he was really rocking on the rap. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, I was maybe like trying to put him on a spot and like try.
Everything was matching his appearance,
Yeah.
the way and things that he does. Like
It still does. Maybe he can rap tonight.
Who is it you're talking about?
By the way, that's a great idea. We demand
Yes.
him to rap at the
That's
end
your
of this
obligation
episode.
to rap.
Wow.
Whatever it is,
You can-
whatever
you can-
song.
you
I
can
was
do that
hoping
in
that
Uzbek.
this moment does not come and you would not
Yeah.
bring this up.
But anyway, so why CJ? I always wanted to ask that question. Why CJ?
Because I remember there were some guys, for example, our friend Gelhush, he said like, I'm Kush. I also had
Steve.
Yeah, Steve. I don't okay, whatever.
You know-
never mind about Steve. But we had this Hosnuddin, I think, that was also telling that he is Kush.
I like how you like broke his name down into syllables and like
Yeah.
Husnuddin.
At least you have some logic in their
Who?
names.
C. Didn't like
But
Eminem
here, in your
does.
case,
I honestly don't remember. Like, I'm being honest. I put my hand on my heart. I don't remember. But some people who are in a loop of all of this, that they say that. Remember, there used to be a game which still exists today, GTA San Andreas. There was a guy, Carl Johnson, which they
Oh,
shortened. his
Carl Johnson. Actually, you do look like him.
and
I
and,
remember.
and some people think that it derived from that. I don't know. My best friend keeps telling me that this is the way it is. This is how it came up, and I'll take it. Fine.
That's just the way
is what it is, right?
let it be as it is.
It is what it is.
So Carl Jr.
Yeah,
Yeah, CJ.
Carl
I
Johnson.
prefer my own name. I want to
No,
keep my identity.
I like CJ. So the question is, so when you're introducing yourself, let's say you're in a meeting or job interview or
Maybe
or
you have some
meeting your
serious-
investors, or I don't know, I haven't seen your business card. You probably do have one.
I do, but that's my real name. My legal name is on it. But and I don't really like, even in informal meetings, I don't bring out my nickname, and I don't like. I kind of want to stay away from that a little bit. But the only time I use it is, I don't know if you guys know or not. If you follow me on Instagram, you see that I post videos from time to time where I rap in the car or
Actually, I just unfollowed you.
yeah, go ahead, no problem. So there I use the stage name because I feel like, okay, let's separate this life from the formal life and a job and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I'll keep CJ as a stage name for my rap videos, and I'll keep my legal name to anything else. So if I meet people,
So you're double-faced crocodile.
yeah, you can say that
Hypocrite.
if you want. Whatever you say.
Just kidding. So do you still have Firuz? Was it Astanov?
Yeah.
Yeah, Firuz Astanov, aka CJ. Does it say so?
I don't have the AKA
Okay,
part,
just
but
Firuz Astanov.
So that he wants to look serious, so he just follows his legal name. Okay.
Got it. So what's
it's
good,
just that I
man?
grew up. That's why.
I like it. No, it's actually cool. It kind of brings up your uniqueness,
In a way.
especially
Yeah.
you've been in U.S. And foreign countries, you name it, China or
Yeah.
Dubai, and for them, when you pronounce your Uzbek name, they're like, huh?
No, I say it as it is. I say Feruz. My name is Feruz. And some people mess it up, but I kind of correct them. I don't really mind. Some people go crazy if you mispronounce their name. I met that a lot. Met a lot of people like that. But for me, it doesn't matter if they mispronounce it. If they ask me, like, how to say your name correctly, I can teach them to say that. But I don't deliberately go and mess with their mind, like, hey, you pronounce my name in the wrong way or something like that. I don't mind, As long as they know how it is, at least like 80 part of it, they get it right, I don't mind. So.
But I don't think that you have any issues with pronouncing your name and understanding your name in Dubai because
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
a lot of people probably it's Oriental Eastern name, so
Absolutely.
Well, Firuz, I mean, it's relatively easy to pronounce, and it's quite understandable. When I was in U.S., when I first got there, I had to teach him geographical lesson because as soon as I pronounce my real name, Behzad, and they're like, Behzad, so where are you from? Uzbekistan. Oh, like Afghanistan?
Pakistan or something like that.
No, like Uzbekistan. Oh, so like Pakistan? I'm like, whatever, like Russia.
I think it happened in
Russia.
Yeah. That's what I used to say, 'cause
Russia.
you gotta actually pull up your phone. You gotta show where Uzbekistan is located on a map, and they're like, "Oh, that's the place." It used to be a Soviet republic, right? I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you got it now." Kind of.
Some people, yeah, I think it happened to everyone. Yeah, it happened to me as well before with the Pakistan thing. So,
So he's
Pakistan issues. I think everybody went over that thing.
yeah, especially these days. All right, let's not get too political and too geographical in that region. So, anyways, you are very aspiring, very inspiring, very motivated entrepreneur, software developer, the guy who's been in IT industry for the past several years now, who opened up his own company, who is thriving, working on his future. Currently, you are in Dubai, and you've been in Uzbekistan for some time. Then you moved to China, if I'm not mistaken, as I remember correctly. Then you moved back to Uzbekistan and went to Dubai.
UAE, yeah.
So how's it going?
It's great, It's great. I'm thankful for every event, for every endeavor, for every adventure that I've had and experienced in my life. You're correct. It's been U.S., China, and UAE, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, I love the international experience that I gained over the years. I think it's helping me a lot now, and it keeps stacking up even further as I progress professionally and in my private life as well. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience.
Oh, man, that's inspiring. So I kind of lost contact with you for some time when you moved to China. I had no idea what you were doing there. Some told me that you're dancing in a club, and no, I'm just joking. So you were occupied. I'm not sure what exactly you were doing, but were you in tech industry back then also?
Yeah. Part of it was tech industry. I've had multiple things that were going on at the time. I was in the tech industry, and since 2017, I was mostly into social media marketing.
Nice.
I was promoting e-commerce stores for people, basically generating them revenue through social media. And the reason that you may have lost contact with me is because a lot of things, conventional social media platforms that we are using normally, are not allowed to access in China, like Facebook and Instagram and so forth, even Telegram sometimes, you
That
have
is
to.
a solid answer.
Yeah.
have
So
a
so we
like
mostly
China
use,
wall.
so we mostly use.
Digital wall.
Digital China wall.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So we mostly had to use WeChat. I'm pretty sure you've heard that. It's another homegrown app of China. So this is why I've lost contact with a lot of people. But then when I moved out, I gained access to everyone and anyone. So now we're good. No going back.
By the way, you told right now that you started up with tech industry and all this stuff like in 2017 or something like that. But I do remember you were not a tech guy before.
Yeah.
What was your journey? I mean, how did you come to? Because I remember you were doing some marketing. I remember you were doing some tutoring, English tutoring in China.
I was in the marketing industry. I graduated from University of Singapore in Tashkent under University of Wales department. So my diploma says that I'm a marketing manager with marketing background. I did marketing for some time, and I came to realize. And answering your question, I will have to get into how I actually got into IT and programming. So I did marketing for some years, and then I realized that this is I'm not satisfied from what I'm doing. So I was like, I need something. Like I'm not feeling happy. I wake up in the morning, I go to job, and then. I'm like, I'm not really happy with what I'm doing. So what is it that I truly love and I would truly want to do? And I started like looking into things like tech, IT, and stuff like that. And it reminded me of those days when I purchased my first computer back in 2007, I think. And I remember I was sitting, I would spend hours on that computer, learning the ins and outs and doing, multiple other things that had to do with either text editor or coding or whatever. And I realized that this is what I truly want to do. So when I got into social media marketing in 2017, everything was going good up until 2020, and I think everyone knows the reason by now. So when we got to 2020, everything just shut down. Like just in a split second, everything was gone. People started like saving money, then spending money because they did not know what to expect from the pandemic. They did not know what it even is and how to tackle this. Is it even, can it be cured? And people are like, okay, I think I better preserve what I have now. I don't want to spend, I don't have a budget for any marketing activities. I don't want to launch any stores. So, in a very short span of time, I lost majority of my clients. And then I started thinking, what is it future-proof that I can do in order to secure income and something that would not be affected by the next pandemic, next crisis, next, I don't know, Lehman Brothers failure or whatever, right? So, and I came to know that programming is something that will keep going on, and particularly software engineering, because when everything else shut down, people immediately transferred it to digital, be it restaurant delivery, be it any other activities. Even Zoom came out, started being popular after 2020, and Zoom is probably the first company that enforced
Shoot up.
work from home policy. So, everything started going digital and people were happy about it. And a lot of people actually realized that, we can still keep things running, if people are working from home. It cuts us a lot of overhead costs. We don't have to pay for rent. We don't have to keep an expensive office, and spend our employees' time for commute. I started getting into that, and I started learning more and more about programming, and finally I discovered the path that I want to take, which came to be web and mobile software engineering. So this is how I pretty much got into this, and this is how the snowball pretty much started.
And was there any person or people that influenced you, helped you, and affected your decision to choose the tech industry? I mean, obviously there should be someone who actually just shows you some roadmap and tells you like, hey friend, or hey guy, hey man, like look at this point. It's a really cool place, and I've been doing this job for several years, and industry is really great, etc. So yeah.
No one proactively came to me, but I reached out to people. That's true. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, but I wanted to find people in my professional network that that would be sort of either already in IT or trying to get into IT. I wanted to ask them what their journeys were like. And I'm pretty sure that by now we all know this guy, Oybek, you know, so I reached out to this
Everyone
guy.
knows him.
Yeah, right?
I think I mentioned him like two times already in the previous episode.
Yeah, like shout out to this guy, Oybek, you know, you're the man. I reached out to this guy and I said, like, you know, I want to take this path, you know, where do I start, you know? And he brought up, you know, a bunch of tech and you know, and names and a lot of stuff. I was lost in this. I said, where do I need to start? And he said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to become, let's say, a full stack. And he told me, you know, the stack that he is good at and the stack that he is working on. And then I took that, I took part of it, I implemented it in my learning process. But then as I did my research, I realized that there's the most popular stack at the time, which was the MERN stack, which included React, React Native, Node, MongoDB, and Express.js. And I started to take that path. Then I enrolled in a US-based coding bootcamp for 5 months. It was a struggle. You know, I was going back to sleep with a laptop and waking up to my laptop. You know, it was a pretty hard time because I also had a day job which lasted for 8 hours, and coming from work, I had to spend another 5 hours learning and doing self-studying, and I also had cohorts with other classmates, and all the timing was US and I was in China back at the time. So to me, it was like nighttime. I had to stay up late to catch up with the guys, and 5 months, you know, they go by quick, and now, like, you know, looking back into this, every minute of it is worth it, because if I had to do it again, I would do it without even a second thought. It was amazing. It was well worth it.
Wow.
So blood, sweat, and tear.
Exactly.
No pain, no gain.
And you mentioned, actually, we'll get a lot of questions like that. So I'm 35 years old, or I'm 40 years old. I want to get into tech industry, or I want to become a software developer, or whatever, right? So just out of curiosity, how old were you when you got started?
I was 30.
30.
Wow.
I was 30 years old.
So was it hard? Was it a struggle? You told me you were waking up with the laptop, going to sleep with the laptop, but there is a misconception also. I don't want to say it's a stereotype, but there is a misconception saying that, okay, if you were over 30, your brain power drastically decreases, and you know, you won't be able to learn or switch your career path or industry. So, and I do believe it's wrong, it's incorrect, and it's just a myth.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
I have additional question to this. I mean, how would you imagine yourself? Would it be any difference if you started learning coding and going into the industry in your 20s compared to what you experienced in your 30s?
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, answering your question, I think that you would agree as well that your energy and your learning capacity 10 years ago was a lot better and greater, and you were more energetic. Even now, if you want to start something versus if you wanted to start something 10 years ago, you would have a lot more energy 10 years ago. And even now, you'd be like, okay, I have to do this. Do I really have energy for this? Do I really have a desire for that? You will always have the desire, but you will not have the energy and the capacity to actually do that. So I absolutely agree. If I started in the 20s, that would be a breeze, I'm pretty sure. When I started at 30, absolutely right. Yeah, there is a certain limit to what you can do. First of all, because you have day-to-day duties, and if you're a family man, that adds up on top of it. But yeah, it was pretty hard. It was pretty hard to the point where halfway into the coding bootcamp, I was second guessing myself, thinking that, is it even for me? Because I was like, you know, I'm not getting what they're saying. I don't even understand. And I realized that when I talked to a lot of guys who are transitioning to IT, everyone has this plateau point where they're like, this is probably not for me, because you're so demotivated, because it's not an easy thing. Because if it was easy, we wouldn't have had this skyrocketing, you know, salaries, and IT would not be as lucrative as it is now. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. That's not easy, obviously, and everyone they kind of second guess themselves. Is it even for me? And a lot of people who are just learning IT reached out to me and said, I'm having this moment, and I said, just keep pushing, because at some point it will all pass. You know, you will understand. And I had the same thing as I need. At some point, I was like, do I need to dump it just now because I don't understand a thing that they're saying? But no, you know, it's a very temporary thing. Because once you start like getting into this more and more further deep down, you know, as you start coding more and getting more practice, this will look like, you'll just think to yourself, like, how did I not get that at the time? This was so easy. Everything just needs practice and persistence. Of course, without determination, you cannot do anything, even at 35, even at 15 or 20. But if you have right level of determination, and if your why is in the right place, like, why are you doing this? What's in it for you, and where it will ultimately take you, then I don't think there's a problem for you to reach any heights in this industry, even at 35 or 40. Because I know software engineers who are 50, 55, some are 60. We could talk about it a bit later of the pros and cons of that, but like those people do exist, and those people do work in tech industries as well, even in the US.
So it's basically practical consistency.
Absolutely.
That's what makes it right.
But you know what? About the energy, I'll just add up some of my opinion here. You said, like, in theory, there is difference between your energy between your 20s and 30s, but I think it's not about you have less energy, but in your 30s you have a lot of other life circumstances and responsibilities that suck your energy, and that is why you don't have any excess of energy that you can spend on learning something or whatever. Because you mentioned, like, by 30s, most of the people, they have families, some duties, some responsibilities. You need to go there. Maybe some people have some kids or whatever. You need to go there.
Dealing with life problems.
Yeah, dealing with life problems. You have the whole schedule. You have your day scheduled, and where in this schedule you can put some time to yourself for self-improvement, etc. So I think it's all about the energy suckers that you have during the day by your 30s, 40s, 50s, etc.
And also, your brain is a muscle also, right? So it's just going to the gym or dropping the gym, and when you stop going to the gym, let's say for 3 months or 5 months, then when you're getting back to the gym, it's always so hard. It's the same thing with the education. So you went to the university, you studied there, you graduated, and after 3, 4, 5 years, you decided, hey, let me change my career path and let me study something else. It's like the same thing as you're dropping the gym and getting back to the gym after 5 months.
Exactly.
It's going to be always hard at the beginning, but once you stay persistent and consistent, then you're going to catch up.
Yeah, and it's exactly what relates to the example that you mentioned, like, before in our private conversation about. You've been living for the last 7 years in a really challenging environment, and for like 3 months, you came to your home country where environment is not that challenging. People are not competing, and the life is very steady, and you went back to Dubai, and the reality shocked you. I mean, during these 3 months, you were like, you just lost.
Because you adapt to every new environment that you end up in. You kind of adapt to it, and you start living by the rules. But then when you go back, the reality really shocks you, because you've been away for quite some time, and there are some things that you used to do, like your routine. This is now gone. You have to keep teaching yourself back into it. To kind of adapt to your new environment now. Actually, same goes with coding, because there could be some piece of code, some algorithm, something very basic and easy, like loops. If you write loops every day, and that's actually the basics, the fundamentals of it. If you write loops, you're good. But if you get into the a bit harder stuff, like some next level coding, some next level challenge, some next level algorithm, and then 6 months later, you come into loops again. Even being a senior software engineer, being so experienced, you look at the loop and you're like, I'm gonna have to Google this. I need to Stack Overflow, because I don't really remember it off the top of my head. It happens every single time. So it's not, when I started learning coding, our instructors always told us that programming is actually the art of Googling. It's how good you are at Googling. It's not about memorizing anything. It's. I don't think that you can memorize this. I think you can know the patterns, you can know the fundamentals, and you can use your fundamental skills to be able to tackle some problem or actually come up with that solution. But in no way, I don't think you can remember this and memorize it and use it. And there are probably some geeks, I'm pretty sure, people that that refuse marriage, don't have private life, and they're like, I'm gonna be hard code coder for the rest of my life.
I have a couple of that.
Hats off to them, no questions about that. But there are some people like that. Yeah, they do exist. guys that tried Google. I've seen some videos on YouTube with their interviewed, whiteboard interview with no equipment, no additional aids and stuff like that, and they're like go top of their head. Yeah, it's probably 1% out of 100, but for a regular IT guy, for a regular programmer, that's not necessary at all. You just have to know the fundamentals, and you have to be skillful and
Good at Googling.
yeah,
You
good at Google.
actually need to know the principles and be able to put the pieces of of the puzzle together. You don't need to necessarily know how every single piece of the puzzle is structured and how it is done. I mean, at least you need to know that, there is a specific piece of puzzle, and you go there and just go through and put it together. But today, it's not actually the art of Googling, but I think it's today the art of ChatGPTing, or how to call it.
ChatGPTing,
That's a new word.
Yeah,
freak out of it.
GPTing, something like that.
So we actually wanted you to ask some questions about that, but before we move towards that, so you started your career when you were in China.
Yeah.
So what brought you to Dubai?
It's quite interesting because I've lived in Dubai before I went to China. I've spent some time there, and I absolutely loved it because it was very close to us in terms of culture, religion, and food. And my personal preference is that I absolutely love summer. I'm not like, I'm not a
Agreed.
winter guy. I don't like the slushy weather and stuff like that, like
Not at all.
no snow, no rain. Some people may judge me, but I'll take it. You're welcome. Be my guest. You're
same on the
only
beach.
one. But I love summer. Absolutely love summer. And it just happens so that in the UAE, you get to experience hot weather for the most of the time. Of course, in winter, like recently, it's becoming a little bit chilly, windy, breezy. But for the most time, it's like I think 8 or 9 months out of the year. You have good weather, whereas it's like something around May of Uzbekistan, and summer is quite hot. But everywhere you go, you kind of embrace it. People who move to Canada, they have snow 365. They just take snowboards and skis and do their own thing. You embrace the environment.
You gotta adapt, yeah.
I could take the summer. I could take the heat in Dubai for summer, but I get to enjoy good weather for the rest of the time. And it was very close to me in terms of culture, religion, and food. And it was like only 2.5, 3 hours away from my hometown, from my home country, which was great. And I got invited there. I got invited by a company called PwC. I'm pretty sure you know a company called PwC, to work on a Abu Dhabi government project. So I had to take it on and I had to move on.
So it was a government project.
Amazing.
Yeah. And by the way, nobody have asked me, but I'm going to mention it still. I'm a senior web and mobile developer, if anyone is interested.
I was coming to that.
I think that's obvious from what we already talked here.
That's why I was on my phone and I was actually going through your LinkedIn, and I wanted to kind of shuffle through your experiences that you
He's
listed
not
there.
just senior software engineer, mobile engineer, but he's also a successful entrepreneur because a part of the job, a full-time job that you have, you also do some side projects, you have some company. You've registered a company in Dubai, as I know.
Yeah. I think we're not, calling names here, and not to, make any advertisement here, but yeah.
I mean, we can. It's totally up to you. As long as you're comfortable, we're totally comfortable.
We're there.
We're here to push you, push what you have, and let others know that hey, this Uzbek guy is living in Dubai, has his own company, and actually thriving.
He's actually fully have international experience. He doesn't have any local experience.
Yeah.
Everything that he does is for big companies out there.
And which is great, which is what we need these days.
Yeah, I mean, it may sound, I don't want to, make it sound like showboating or stuff like that, but I'm very proud of the experience that I have. That's, that's I truly give out to myself as well. So
That's amazing.
So the point which I was coming to, so I see PwC and I also see Move, which is your current company where you work as senior software engineer.
Yeah.
And you've been there quite some time now. So why not Uzbekistan?
I've never had a chance to work.
I'm not trying to, put pressure on certain pain
no.
points, but like,
I mean, you said you never had a chance, but look around. I mean, things happening right now in Uzbek market in the tech industry. I mean, everything is thriving. You have all the jobs creating everywhere.
Right. But this
companies coming in.
Exactly. But this all started after I already like made my move and took up an employment and signed a contract. So now, yeah, we are seeing all these changes, which is great, I think. But I've never had a chance, and I don't really know the right people in the tech industry here to be able to go and shake hands and hear what they have to say or whatever positions they have. I never really had a chance. But if there is an opportunity as such, and if it becomes lucrative for the both parties, then why not? Like I don't deny the opportunity. Absolutely. It
So
just
let's-
happens so that I my experience started there and it's still ongoing. So
Let's get slightly critical and just basic constructive criticism here. In terms of level, what we are here in Uzbekistan and what you are in Dubai, how big of a difference we have? I know I might be asking an obvious question, and if you ask the people, the software developers or the people that are in IT industry working overseas, most of them, they could say, hey, we might not be there. I might not be quite ready to go back and do whatever I'm doing here and just continue working in Uzbekistan. So just a criticism. What are we lacking?
everyone has that self-doubt, even if you speak to software engineers overseas. My own colleagues, when we chat about our experiences, everyone had that question, am I a good fit? I have my learning curve. I have my learning process. When does that end? Am I fit to start, applying for jobs and get the job interview? That question, I think, it pops up in the minds of every software engineer, the starting software engineer. I don't really know the level of guys here because, like I said, I have not come across. But I can certainly tell you the level of expectations in the UAE. There, you have to be extremely good at what you do, because if you're not, then chances are you will not stick around for too long. Nobody will keep. It's a fast-paced market. It's time is money. Especially if you're working for a fintech company. There's transactions every day. There could be some bugs that you have to fix immediately. If you're not able to deliver, you will not be around for too long. Like, don't expect that being as a freeloader that you can stick around for some time and still keep getting money. That's not the case. You have to be extremely good at what you do, and you have to continuously learn to become better. If you know one stack, good for you, but you have to always upskill and upgrade and learn new stuff in order to stay competitive in the labor market. Again, things happen. Sometimes you may lose your job. Sometimes your department may become obsolete. Sometimes you can be redundant to the company, that let you go, whatever reason, you name it, and not necessarily your own fault. So when it comes to finding your next challenge, again, you being good at what you do, goes a long way. It can take you to any other company and any new company, or even upgrade your salary, increase it, whatever. The level of development there and expectation is extremely high. When I graduated the boot camp, I thought that I'm job ready, but in fact, I could confidently say that everything I have learned came from my first job. Most importantly, in IT industry is to get that first job, because when you get that first job, it eventually delivers you commercial experience, not the tutorial or demo experiences that you have, because that does not mean a thing. You can put a YouTube video and then you can second screen, you can code along, but eventually when the YouTube video stops, you don't understand what you've done. Your first job actually delivers you commercial experience, whereas this is the real world. You push stuff, and then this is what other people use. This is what other people download. Those are the real bugs that the real users are experiencing. And if there is a bug, you have to tackle it to fix it so that people can use the application smoothly and stuff like that. This is on you. This is real world. And by doing those tasks, you gain that commercial experience that is vital for your survival in your own either company or in your own industry that you're working in. I thought that I'm job ready. I was not. My first job, It got me all the necessary skills. By the time I graduated boot camp, I thought that I didn't know what's pull request. I didn't know what is PR. I didn't know that I have to branch out from main branch, fix my code and stuff, and then raise PR against something, and then there's somebody reviewing it. I did not know any of that. And that's not job ready, unfortunately. But here, you have to know automation, you have to know Git commands, you have to be extremely good at what you do, good code practices, concise codes, not dry codes. I mean, you have to write dry codes, which is don't repeat yourself, not writing 1,000 lines of code for something that could be only 50 lines of code and stuff like that. So, the expectations are extremely high. If you want to work overseas, you have to match the level. But again, if you are lucky, if you get that first job, it will take you, from 0 to 100 pretty fast, given that you have the right determination and your priorities are in the right place.
So, in your own experience, you mentioned that in the market of Dubai, everything is competitive, standards are high, but nevertheless, in your own view, which project that you had in your experience was the most challenging? I mean, you're not sleeping the whole night to accomplish what you are supposed to do.
That was probably the Abu Dhabi government project, because I cannot share too many details of that because it's a bit confidential. But I could say that it was a large group of developers, and you could count hundreds.
Wow.
Large group of developers split into groups of 5, working on a separate journey, because that particular thing was was built in order to tackle the coronavirus consequences, because there's a shutdown. You cannot legally go to, renew your driving license or pay your fines or whatever. So in order to avoid that, to avoid traffic jams, to avoid people gathering together in multiple places, given that there is a virus and stuff like that, this portal was developed so that you can finish off your legal stuff from the comfort of your home, be it purchasing, like registration renewal, driving license renewal, driver license application, and so forth. So this was the project like that. And it was quite challenging because, again, you have to deliver on time, not missing any deadlines, because missing deadlines means increased cost for the company that is purchasing, that is ordering this particular product. Of course, we had seniors that are even more experienced than us that are reviewing our code and stuff like that. And in order to satisfy them, in order to get their green light on any PR request to get it approved, you have to write good code. You have to write, something that they would give a go, and it was a bit tough in the beginning, but I had my challenges here and there. But overall, it was a great experience, and which I'm extremely proud of. So one of the biggest projects of my life and my portfolio. I'm extremely proud of it.
And since we started talking about challenges, what are the failures you've encountered throughout your career? I don't want to get into personal life, but throughout your career. And you mentioned that certain projects can get obsolete, then tech industry could be volatile, right? Or you can become, like you said, redundant to the company. So what are the failures that you remembered and you took as a lesson, and to this day, you're like, okay, I went through that failure. That was a lesson. I will never, ever repeat that again.
In the scope of a company, or in the scope of looking for a job, or in the scope of like what?
Let's say, when you started your career in tech industry, while you were dealing with projects.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, failures can come from poor judgment and poor decision making. I remember when I started my first job, I thought that I cannot ask for help and I should not ask for help, because if I ask for help, that probably gives me a bad impression, gives me a bad image, and people will probably think this guy does not know what he does. I thought maybe I'll just I'll just Google it, I'll Stack Overflow it and stuff like that. I'll get the answer from the internet, and then I'll finish this off. This will be on me. I'll be the one. I'll have it to my name. I'll have this feature to my name, and I did not ask an external help from anyone. And it was wrong, because I could sit for days on a feature that would probably take me an hour or 2 hours to fix. And that was a big mistake, because eventually I got lectured for that. My manager told me, like, why is it being delayed for 3 days? And I said, I'm still trying to look for a solution. And he's like, why have you not asked your superior? And I'm like, I did not know what to say because I know honestly why I did not ask him, but I couldn't just lay it out on a
Yeah.
table for him. I'm like, I didn't know what to say, and he's like, look, if you're stuck, take the 20-minute rule. If you cannot fix it in 20 minutes, ask for help because this is time is money for us, and every single day, like I said, increases the cost of the application or a final product. And he said, do ask, your superior next time because we don't want any delays. That was one of the, one of the cringy moments for me, and I'm like, okay. And another one, yeah, it's quite funny. I accidentally, I'm laughing as I remember this. I accidentally,
Something is coming.
yeah, it's very
Definitely.
embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. I once accidentally pushed API private keys on GitHub.
Oh my god.
Was it serious API?
It was a test project. It was not. Fortunately, it was not a production.
At least it wasn't a production.
It was not a production project, and it was not anything that I commercially worked on. But it was still like it was something around test tasks that you get, when you want to apply for jobs and stuff like that you have to finish as a part of your portfolio to demo it on your GitHub. And I had a public API key, which is unique to me, and I don't remember what happened. I put it on Git ignore or I did not. I don't and I pushed the public API key on GitHub. And then I got a message from GitHub on my mailbox saying some of your repositories may be exposed to, or maybe vulnerable to security breaches. And I'm like, what is it? And I opened up. I saw my GitHub repository, the commit that I just pushed. I went in there, I found the API key, and I'm like, I don't remember clearly, but I think when I was studying programming, this is not supposed to be here. And I'm like, okay, do I roll it out? Do I not? Like, what do I do? And I rolled it out, and it was quite embarrassing for me. I thought if someone notices right now, I'm done. They'll be like, this is goof. These guys are goof. I don't know.
Were you okay afterwards?
I was okay. I was okay. I rolled it out
Man,
in a minute after
that's-
I've committed it. So, yeah, it was
That's
pretty
funny, though.
It was pretty funny.
The one thing I noticed also on your Instagram, the sports, the judo.
Yeah.
How long you been doing that?
Oh,
And what's your
a
degree?
long time ago. It was a long time ago. I think I started when I was about 9 or 10.
Wow.
Yeah, and I finished when I was about 16. So it was quite a good refreshing exercise after school because. I mean, come on! I am a guy, you have to do something to kind of, because you have a lot of energy, you don't know where to waste it. So, my mom signed me up for the a judo club. Was pretty close by. That place is gone now. It was where the current stadium is, the Bunyodkor Stadium.
Oh, okay.
MGSK.
MGSK was there before, so that's where I trained. It's not a very long or big endeavor, but I still do it sometimes. In Dubai,
I
there's
saw your videos.
yeah. There's a club in Dubai called Olympics, and sometimes I go there and train. But it's not something that is like I do regularly. I do it like from time to time because I have a lot of duties now. In my free time, currently, if I have some free time, I'm learning new stuff. Like currently, I'm into artificial intelligence and ML ops for Python. So this is what I'm covering right now, which is more important now than any other sport exercise. But yeah, I go to gyms, and from time to time when I have energy and desire.
Big time, and we were coming to ChatGPT, AI, and all those stuff. So tech trends. The 2022 was one hell of a year in terms of AI, in terms of what came out to the market.
Especially what happened with the big tech and all these layoff things.
Insane. So as of 2020, the pandemic was there, and we thought, we're becoming more digital, and there will be more and more tech jobs, which happened. 2020 was a relatively different year. So certain companies, they closed out their projects, but there were a lot of companies who created new projects. But then 2021 hit, and so many, especially giants, they started shifting towards AI. And when we're going through the trends and also the products that came out in 2022 all the way to the end of 2023, it was such a drastic change and such an amazing stuff that's being created. How are you adapting yourself to such a rapid movement in the market or in the industry overall? Because now you study one thing in a week, in a month, you got to catch up with another thing. Or let's say one company like OpenAI, okay, they come up with their ChatGPT at the beginning of 2023, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the end of 2022.
It was end of 2022,
Yeah.
November or something like that.
And they were one of the few companies that kind of visible from AI perspective, right? And then Google started investing towards AI. Then Microsoft, hey, why we're gonna just stick with OpenAI? Let's invest towards Copilot, right? And then you're trying to learn one thing, then the second thing comes up, then third thing comes up, and now we're in 2024. And I was actually reading an article. 2024 is expected to be the most actually insanely fast year for AI industry. They're expecting that there will be more than 500 new products to be released in the market. And how are you adapting yourself for such trends?
I absolutely love it, honestly, because this is exactly what I mentioned a moment ago, where you cannot just be a software engineer with one stack. If you're extremely good at it, fine, it makes you a lot of money, you can keep going on earning, but you have to upskill and upgrade at every single point of time where you have a chance. So speaking of AI, this is the next big thing, I think everyone would agree. And leaving it behind, just focusing on your stack, which is not AI powered, is probably a full move, because after some time when, AI can even replace you, or let's say your stack or your job, but it will not replace people that are actually operating it. So if you know how to use it, utilize it to your advantage, you can as well earn money, maybe even better money than you used to earn. So it's always good to upskill and teach yourself to learn new stuff. So I know about this big hit. I don't know if you know or not. There's an exhibition called GITEX, which happens, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say yearly, but I'm not really sure. And this time it happened in the UAE, in Dubai, and it was an enormous, a huge kind of event where.
Was it last fall?
It was last fall, yeah, where a lot of companies, from all around the world, they gathered in this World Trade Center hall in Dubai, and they showed products that left me absolutely speechless. And they were AI powered, and something that you normally don't see, And those are the concepts, They're not even live yet, but they're pitching it, because if it becomes live, then everybody would probably be surprised. But the level of the sophisticated level of the AI that they're utilizing, this is absolutely mind-blowing. People talk about ChatGPT and they're intimidated by ChatGPT. Well, ChatGPT replaced me if I'm a software engineer. Dude, ChatGPT is an NLP, natural language processor. It's a generative AI tool, which is correct, which can chat to you, which can generate pieces of code for you, but it cannot write an application A to Z, taking care of its unit testing, deployment, QA rounds and stuff like that. It will just spit out something for you that you have to take as a raw data and then try to integrate it into your application, hooking it up on top and bottom, changing variable names and stuff like that. You still have to make it work. It's not like, hey, ChatGPT, write me a mobile application. It writes your mobile application, you take and upload on GitHub, and it starts working. No, you have to be knowledgeable in order to hook it up to, let's say, a database, because ChatGPT can write both front end and back end for you, let's say, right? But it will never connect it for you. You will have to sit and do some manual job, and plus, like I said, there's private API keys, and you will never expose that to ChatGPT. You have to take care of it yourself. So you can take the piece of code that's written by ChatGPT, and you still have to do some job. If you do not know what you do, then of course even ChatGPT won't help you. But you know, if you utilize it to your advantage now, where everyone is using ChatGPT more often than they're using the Stack Overflow. That's
Yeah,
the
big
fact.
time.
That's the fact.
But how do you think in that case? I mean, what was the cause of the last year's layoffs in the big tech? I mean, Google, Meta, and some other companies out there that laid off like in thousands, like 10,000,
I think Google alone 19,000.
19,000 and Facebook, they laid off, I don't know how many people out there. Is it related to AI or something else? Because everybody fears of this AI. As you mentioned, yeah, of course, we know that it cannot replace software engineers because you need to be able to put all the pieces of puzzle together, and AI cannot do that. But everybody fears of AI, especially because of the reasons I mentioned. I mean, the events happened last year at the end of the 2022, mass layoffs. So what is the relation and how they are related? Do you have any opinion on that?
Okay, so I don't want to vouch for something that I'm not 100% sure, but I can speculate on the answer. First of all, I don't think that it has to do anything with AI because AI was not as sophisticated as it is now, although it was like only half a year ago. When it comes to Twitter, I think we all know why layoffs happen in Twitter. That's out of the question.
That's a Joe Rogan topic right there.
Exactly. I think you don't even have to mention. Everybody knows why layoffs happen in Twitter. But speaking of Meta and Google, in my experience, layoffs, they come from one thing. When companies, realize that they're not generating enough revenue, be it from ad revenues or whatever, marketing revenues, when they realize that they're spending more than they're earning back, that's probably where they come to a point that maybe we should get rid of a couple people. That's exactly what I think happened in this case. So it's either because the revenue was dropping and they wanted to keep up with the costs or turn something unprofitable into something profitable. Probably that could be the cause. But trust me, if your company is thriving with the group of people that you have, would you even think of like laying them off? I don't think that's the case. If you're thriving, if you're prospering, and if you're earning good money, you will never lay them off. How will they become redundant to you? How will they become extra or obsolete to you? They're generating revenue for you. So you would probably be interested in keeping them for as long as you can, or potentially increasing their salary so they don't get attracted to some other offer or some other company. But in no way would you just take a bulk of people and just lay them off. If you're prospering and if you're thriving, that's not the case. At least that's what I think.
You want to say there is a solid reason behind those layoffs,
and it may not even be public, honestly.
Yeah, because it's really interesting. This thing happened. I mean, for the whole tech industry, for the whole big tech. I mean, I would understand if that happened. I mean, for example, Facebook doesn't perform well, and that's why they decided to lay off a certain piece of their percentage of their workforce. But that happened to everyone. Everyone did this. So,
I remembered one more case where guys were laid off. There are some companies out there that they're startup companies, and when they hire their personnel, and they have an MVP in their mind, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna get to a certain point. Let's release the MVP. Let's get to like version 1 of the product, then version 2, then version 3, and so forth. Once they realize that most of this app was built, they're like, okay, I think we can only keep 2 guys to keep up with the tech debt, and then keep the operations going. We don't need the rest of them. Also, these guys were the ones that actually built this application. So they're like, sorry guys, but your time's up here. They come up with them.
You got rid of the foundation.
Exactly. They come up with some BS reason to let these guys go, and that's it. After they've built this application already. So this is another case, could as well be that, okay, we have the feature in place, why keep people, why keep, why keep extra mouths in this company, to keep paying them salaries and keep them here. Plus, there's insurance, there's tax, there's a lot of other things.
And in terms of ChatGPT, that was a question I wanted to ask. Yeah, what are the threats of ChatGPT and overall AI in the industry? But from my experience alone, and probably you guys do the same thing. Like in daily basis, I rely on ChatGPT. That's like you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like you mentioned, that's the best tool in the market right now. No questions asked. Much better than Stack Overflow. But at the same time, there are companies that are implementing AI more advanced levels, and from my industry, from BI and data engineering, now there are tools in the market. Let's say the Databricks, they just acquired, I think this fall, the startup company called Mosaic for $1.5 billion, and that is large language model training, and that is meant to replace regular data engineering efforts towards the future. But that cannot work without current data engineers, because they have to train those models, they have to create those implementations, they have to actually come up with solutions and different language models for the AI to be able to do that process later on, starting from data migration to moving to the cloud and creating the reports. But do you think, in my opinion, yes, it will be in next 5 years, maybe God knows the way how it's fastly progressing. Maybe it's going to be sooner than that. But I think in next 5 years, the industry will change. The jobs will change. The positions, certain positions will be eliminated. But at the same time, there will be different positions that will be created.
Absolutely, yeah. I also agree with you when you say that those positions will not go anywhere. There will be some vacuum that will be created by the positions that are vacated, but it doesn't mean that they will not be filled. They will be filled with people who can operate this thing. Like you said, LLMs, they can be created at ease every single day, but it takes time to train them and actually make them workable AI models. Otherwise, AI on its own does not mean a thing unless it can do
Somebody
the job.
trains them, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody trains them. For that you need data, you need test data, you need something to feed this machine in order for it to perform eventually and do good for
Also
you.
the talent.
Exactly, yeah. So that will take workforce and manpower as well. It's not like people will be laid off and just be sitting home. That is true that ChatGPT has already replaced content makers and marketers. That's true, because I've heard from a couple of them that they're really suffering because this tool came out. But some people who are still content writers and marketers who utilize this to their advantage without complaining about this, are actually thriving now. So, and the same goes to developers. If you're intimidated by it, then as they say in US, you can't take the heat, they get the F out the kitchen. That's that's probably the best way to put this, right? So if you're intimidated, don't come near it. It will not, spoil your mood eventually. But if you want to do it, adapt. This is tool in your hand right now. Utilize it. Make it do good for you and take it to your advantage.
But what I think personally is actually AI will create even more jobs than we currently have, even more roles. Because just remember, did you have the professions we have today, like 20, 30 years ago? We have like designers, digital designers, product managers, project
not even
managers,
like 3 years ago.
UI, UX designers, software engineers, business analysts, system analysts, etc., etc. All these professions, all these jobs were created because internet got really like the exposure
after the
of
dot-com
internet.
boom.
Yeah, after the dot-com boom. And I think the same is going to happen with AI. It's going to create hundreds of jobs, hundreds of new titles, new positions. And AI actually will create even more problems in our daily lives that is supposed to be solved. And that's why, as you said, the one who adapts will be ahead of everyone. So
Totally agreed.
I think we don't need to fear anything about that.
So do you think we should move towards questions from our viewers?
I think yes, because we asked our audience about certain questions that they want to ask
Actually,
a very experienced
before
software
you,
engineer.
So come out, we started kind of advertising or promoting. Hey, we've got this rap god, or AKA like Kanye West of Tashkent, AKA CJ, the Carl's Jr. Mr.
Yeah,
Firuz is
exactly.
coming out to our studio for our
God.
next podcast, and we asked them to
What is going on? I have no idea.
come up with their questions. And actually, there are a lot of young, ambitious or individuals or the people who would like to actually switch their career towards technology or overall tech industry. And they asked tons of questions, and we picked up some of them, and I think you can get started with those, and I'll continue.
Yeah, sure. First, of course, disclaimer that they are not in the tech industry. They want to go into the tech industry, and that's why a question may sound like simple or maybe real like newbie questions, but That's what they ask. That's what they want to find out.
We've all been there. There's,
We've all been there, and I see the pattern that these questions are asked by everyone who just want to start up with this, go into the tech industry. So I think the painful question that everybody asks and everybody wants to know: I completed courses, I completed boot camp, but I cannot find a job. How to find a job? What is the process of getting your first job? And as you mentioned, you need to have the main goal is to get your first commercial experience and first job. So how to get into that?
Okay, yeah, it's a very common question, and it happened to me as well. In order to land my first job, I've had some 20, 25 interviews.
Wow.
With failing 24 of them and getting the 25th. It was a painful process because nobody wants to believe in you and invest in you if you are a junior software engineer without any prior experience at all. That's dangerous and risky. If you're a company owner, you will realize that this is a liability for you more than it is an asset. So the shortest path to IT, I don't know why people stick to Python off top of the gate. This is not something that you want to do. The shortest path to IT is front-end development because it's a visual part of the application, visual part of the website where, you build a website, you set the button tones, you set the colors, you set the fonts, you set the grid, the layout and stuff like that. You take care of the visual part for the client, right? And this is easy because it's like playing with the Lego. Eventually it's like, playing with some Lego, you write code and it magically appears on the screen. This is interesting, fun, and easier
Right.
than learning the backend. Because backend, we have a great professional here with data. For the backend, you have to be an extremely good, applications architect. You have to know the systems design. You have to know take Instagram. Instagram has users have pictures have IDs, pictures have comments have replies underneath them. So you need to understand how do I structure my backend in a way that I can serve it as an API and it is a workable JSON object, let's say, right? This is not easy, especially if you are new in the tech industry. How will you understand this? You need some time to do the smooth transition. So front-end development is the easiest. If you know front-end development, and I mean one of the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, one of the three famous frameworks, Angular, React, or Vue, and I personally suggest React, and APIs as a CRUD operations, create, read, update, delete, you're set. You're good, and Git on top of that. You're good. You can start applying because the knowledge that you have will give you enough confidence and enough knowledge to answer the interview questions. They will not ask you, some people who are front-end, they go and say, I'm full stack. And then when they are asked about front-end questions, they can, they can kick A, right? And then, and when it comes to backend, some people ask them, what is Node? What's the runtime? How does it work? They'll be like, they don't know. So just stick to front-end development. This is how you get your foot in the door. Once you stepped in already, you're on the other side. You can go ahead and learn backend or whatever after you got your first job and stuff like that. But the shortest path: learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Choose one front-end framework. Learn API, CRUD operations, and start applying for jobs. A starting point for somebody from here would be hh.ru, headhunter.ru. It gives you about 200 applications a day, and you can just upload your CV and then put the keyword, let's say React front-end engineer, and it will show up a list of vacancies that are offered by companies in the CIS, former CIS countries. Some are in Europe, and you just do click. You just do click 200 times, until your limit is gone. Some of them will answer. And prepare for those interviews, answer the questions. If they ask you something you don't know, write it down, learn it, prepare for it, and go again. So this is how you do it. This is exactly how it's done, and this is how I actually did it. Oftentimes interviews, they also teach you a lot. This is also a skill. Nobody ever got the job from the first interview. I don't think that's possible. You kind of learn when you first go in the interview. You don't even know what to expect. But when you go to the 5th or 10th or 20th interview, you know, okay, these guys are, this is the structure. They're going to introduce me to the company. They're going to ask about me and my experience. They're going to ask what I can do. And then, you know, they'll ask me the questions about front-end development and probably APIs. Okay, I know this portion very well. I've studied this portion. I think I'm set. Every single interview, it will add up to your experiences of getting through interviews. When you go to your first interview, you don't even know what the outline will be. But normally, you will learn the drill eventually. That's pretty much it, yeah.
Before I actually read this question, so you mentioned you went through multiple interviews. 25, you got the job on your 25th, and that happens a lot when they apply, then they go through a certain amount of interviews, and they just lose their motivation. How you kept yourself with the same motivation? How you were just keep it going? Hey, you know, okay, another failure. I learned my lesson. You know, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna keep it going. Because a lot of them, they just drop. They apply. They go through the first interview. One fail, second fail, third fail, and they're like, okay, this is not for me.
Exactly. That's the question that I always get. I mean, I applied for a job. They don't want me. And how many jobs you applied? 2?
Yeah. I know that. You know, there are two types of people, you know, especially in tech industry, that I kind of categorized for myself. You know, one type is a wannabe. You know, they're wannabes. They just want to be. You know, they don't want to put any action. They don't want to put any effort. They're just wannabes. They heard about someone else's, you know, experiences and someone else's income and someone else's job, and they're like, I want that job. I want that guy's money. Those are wannabes. They don't want to work, but they want that stuff. And there's gotta getters. You know, they go and actually do things. So this is what distinguishes you between, you know, a gotta getter from a wannabe. So yeah, you can even go to 50 interviews and still get failed. If you want it badly, you have to go get it. For me, I knew there is no way going back to marketing. I did not want to do that. So for me, it's either I make it or not, you know. So the longest yard for me. And I knew that I don't have a way out. You know, I have to make it. So I kept pushing. Heck, there were times when I was ready to cry, honestly. After interviews, I'm like, you know, another rejection, another no. What am I doing wrong? You know, like everyone is placed somehow. Like, what am I doing wrong? But no, you have to keep pushing, you know. I will tell something that maybe to some people will sound cliche. I believe that everything is from Allah, to me at least, you know. But you have to work for it, you know. It's not like you can just sit out there and stuff will drop on your head. It's not going to happen. You just have to work, be persistent at what you do. When you are persistent, everything will come. You just have to stay focused and do not deviate from what you do. Eventually, you will drill this, and you know, your first job, your money, or whatever, fame, legacy, progress, everything will come to you. You just have to stay focused, stay determined, and do not deviate from the path that you're on. Once you deviate, that's it. Then you're not different than I want to be. You know.
That's a solid answer. So I have a question here. How to learn by heart all the code? So basically, we talked about Googling earlier. We're kind of coming back to this question. So basically, how to learn by heart all the code?
Or do you need to learn by heart everything?
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. There's no learning by heart. There's no memorizing things. What you need to know is fundamentals. What's fundamentals? Okay, so like, here's a simple example. If I tell you 235 multiplied by 756, you're not going to tell me. You're not a calculator. But you know the multiplication sign. You know what it is. That's the fundamental, right? You know the plus sign, the addition sign, subtraction, and division and stuff like that. You know the fundamentals. You know how this works. By knowing how this works, you can actually figure out the final and ultimate answer. That's how it works in IT. You need to know the fundamentals. That is, what is, like, let's say, what is a tag? You know, like let's say input tag. What does it do? You know, what is an IMG tag, which is image? What is the div tag, which is a division block? You know, what does it do? What comes first? You know, div comes first or IMG comes first? You know, does input need to be enclosed in division, or it does it have to be outside of it? What's the rule? What is the self-closing tag? What is the double closing tag? When you understand the basics, the fundamentals, then any task that you will be given or you will be thrown, you will understand it immediately, and you will know how to figure it out and fix it. You can never learn it by heart. Like I don't even know what by heart means. For example, if we're working with arrays, there are a number of methods like I don't know, array.map, array.find, array.sum, array. I don't know.
Filter.
Yeah, filter.
Arrays and methods, same with the methods.
lot,
You
you know.
cannot memorize everything.
You will only probably remember 2 or 3 that you are using frequently, but you will not be able to remember all of them. And you don't have to, because this is unnecessary. You can Google it, or you can Stack Overflow, ChatGPT it, whatever you want when it comes to solving something complex that you have not come across before. But for your personal day-to-day work, it's enough to know what you are using frequently. You don't have to memorize. There's no such thing as memorizing code in programming. This is absolutely stupid, I think. Like I said, there is probably 1% of people that know how to do that. When you ask them, they're like, but I'm talking about those geeks that give up their private life and, they're like, I'm just going to be a hardcore programmer, nothing else exists for me. I'll just be a computer geek. Those guys probably, yes, but you don't have to memorize it. It's unnecessary.
I have another question here. One of our people in our audience asks, you mentioned that you worked in PwC. Did you find that job yourself, or they reached you out? Who found whom?
Okay, that's an interesting question, and it's an interesting story. Again, like I told you a moment ago, I believe that everything is from God. So about a few years ago, I don't want to go into details, something very bad happened to me personally. And I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to mention it to, No. I was, and it was probably the 14th or 15th day from ever since that happened. So I'm sitting out here in my room, and our friend Oybek, he reaches out to me and he goes, some lady bothering me, a recruiter lady, I don't really want to talk to her. Do you want to, do you want me to hook you up with her? I said, fine. I just said that at the time I was giving out answers without thinking. It's not like I gave him my mind was absolutely in a different place. So he throws an email, and I just write a mail. Hey, Oybek, he kind of shared your email. How can I help you? She reaches out to me and she said, "Are you a full stack MERN full stack engineer?" I said yes. And she said, "We need to fill a position for a very big project, but we need somebody skillful." And I said, what do you want? Just lay it out. I don't want to go into details. And you need to understand something with Dubai market. There is no such thing as finding a job remotely in Dubai. It never happened. Normally how it happens is you apply for a 30-day visa or 90-day visa, and lucky now it's visa free, you don't have to apply for anything. But back in the day it was like that. You apply for a 30-day or 90-day visa, you go and actually look for a job on the spot. And there is no chance that one company will conduct all interviews in one day for you and you'll be hired the next day. What happens here? Why I'm saying that everything is from Allah. I was sitting at my computer, absolutely lost, I don't know, I don't know, I'm looking at the code, I don't know what it is, my mind is completely blank. So she goes, we want to interview you, and I'm like, fine, go ahead. So I thought that, and in my experience, never did it happen that the first ever contact, and I get hired. It's never happened. Like I told you, I had to, spend 25 interviews in order to land a job. So to me, it was just giving courtesy to my friend, if he shared, I want to follow that lead up until a point, it will either drop or whatever happens, but at least I will say, thank you very much, my dear friend, we spoke to her and that was the outcome. And I also needed to honor the lady since she contacted me. I need to kind of lead this conversation till the end. So she goes we scheduled an interview, in the morning. Let's do an introductory call. She calls me, and then we speak for 15 minutes. I try to pull myself together, and look normal, And she asked a bunch of questions about like, what's your experience, what's your background. I answered every single question, and she said, "Thank you very much. You know, I got your information. You know, and we'll reach out to you. You know." And I said, "Yeah, thank you very much," and I hung up. And I knew what that means. I was like, "Yeah, I heard that a lot of times. That means, yeah, thank you very much. We'll call you." I heard it many times. Next thing I know, I opened up my calendar. Exactly 3 hours later, you know, she scheduled a second round interview call. It's even called second round interview technical call. And I'm like, wow, she did not tell me anything. You know, I did not get a prior call. What if I'm not available? You know, so they just, you know, I just randomly scheduled it in my calendar. And I'm like, fine, I'll take it. You know, I'm logging in at whatever, 2 p.m. I think it was. There's one guy from that company already who was already hired on a CTO level or something. He's like, I'm going to do technical interview. I said, I'm surprising you. Yeah, but whatever. And nobody ever told me, so I had to gather up my mind, and I'm like, what do I know about technical things now, given the circumstances and situation? I'm like, fine, I'll do that. And the guy grilled me for an hour and a half on the back end, on the front end, you know, asking me different questions, and you know, I tried to handle it to the best of my ability. And there were even questions that I answered no to. Like, I'm like, I don't even know what to tell you. You know, there were questions like that, and not a few of them. Then he said, "Fine, thank you very much. I got it. You know, we'll call you." And I said, "Okay, yeah." And I'm like, I know what "we'll call you" means, so it's probably the end of it. I go out for dinner. I've been not it the whole day, and this lady calls me on my mobile. You know, and she's like, "Hey, I need something from you." I said, "What?" "Can you guarantee that, you know, if you're hired, you will be here by, you know, like in 3 days, within 3 days? Because if your answer is yes, right now we're closing this position, we're giving you an offer for a very good amount." And I'm like, "Are you kidding?" Because you know, we've just met, you know, 3 interviews in a day, 3 interviews in one day. You know, when does that happen to you? It never happened to me. And I'm like, okay. I started questioning the legitimacy of it. Like, I'm like, is this a real company? Like, what's going on? It never happened to me that a company, you know, conducts 3 interviews in one day and hires me eventually. And she's like, "Yeah, we'll send you the contract." She sent me the contract. She asked for my passport back so they can process the working visa and stuff like that. Boom, this is how it happened, you know.
Wow.
Were you shocked when you noticed that the company is actually PwC?
Yeah, I did not know that. I knew that when I landed in Dubai, they asked me to come to the office, and when I came to the office, I saw this big building.
Wow.
And when they handed over my laptop, because it was a very high-profile project, you know, we could only. I think you know what I mean. You know, we could only connect with the VPN to a secure, to a secure network in order to work on that project. It's not just a random, you know, a random e-commerce project or something like that. So I had to come and pick up my gear, and they gave me an access card with my name on it, with PwC logo and the computer, and then I saw PwC office, and it's absolutely stunning. It was amazing. That's when I was like, okay, now this is real. I can confirm this is legit.
That's a hell of an experience.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah.
So I do have another question here. How to make a portfolio? I think that's quite a common question as well.
Yeah. So there are 2 cases. First, if you are in a boot camp, they will make you make a portfolio. You will have to have, by the time you graduate, by the time you finish, you have to have at least 5-6 projects in your portfolio, which you do together in a group or during your learning. That is enough for you, you know. But that portfolio needs to reflect the everyday operations that happen in IT, which is, again, CRUD: create, read, update, delete. Every website, every application that you see, there are these 4 operations that you have to nail. Like Instagram, you know, you create an entry, like a post, you know, you can edit it, changing text, you can delete it, and you can display it for yourself when you access it. So you have to understand that CRUD is important, you know, as long as your applications, they can be simple. It could be calculator for all I care, you know, a to-do list, whatever. But it has to reflect your knowledge on CRUD, that you are able to make these 4 operations, because these are probably the fundamentals of everything online. This is one case, right? So your bootcamp will have to make you work on your portfolio, and by the time you graduate, you're going to have 5-6 projects. If you want, spend some extra time and you know, take what you've learned, base off of that, and create your own, you know, demo. I don't know, like maybe some app that you like, you want to recreate. You know, maybe you saw something on YouTube that you want to recreate with slight modifications. You're free to do that. If that helps you, you know, showcase what you know, what you do, be my guest. Why not? Then there is another category of people who are self-taught. When you're self-taught, it's probably doable. I tried, it didn't work for me, so I had to actually pay money to the boot camp. But if you are self-taught, then you have to, this is on you, it's your responsibility to build up your portfolio. But again, it has to be around what is popular and trending in IT, meaning it has to evolve around, front-end frameworks, popular front-end frameworks, because those are in need. And it has to revolve around CRUD as well, because CRUD is probably the everyday operations on any platform, any application, mobile application, you name it.
When do you think the software developer can be considered like independent? He can work independently, and because that's obvious. Like junior developers, you need to like micromanage or whatever. You need to like always monitor what do they do, etc. But when you can consider a developer that he can work actually independently, and you can trust him, you can give some tasks, whatever it is, and you are pretty sure that he will accomplish it. What's the level of that, and what are the standards?
Even a junior developer can do that given the proper training, let's say on his first job, because mostly what you learn, you'll probably learn it in the first 3 months of your he's doing the Coca-Cola commercial thing. You could do it on microphones. We're gonna show him at this moment. We're gonna show him trying to sneak in.
I should be like,
Let me do that.
Go ahead.
Myself
I
too.
already opened mine.
I got thirsty all of a sudden. Sorry.
Yeah, here it is.
I tried to make it as silent as possible. Didn't happen.
Oh, pretty tough one.
So coming back to your question,
Yeah.
what you learn is probably within the first 3 months of getting your commercial experience. That's enough for you. If you are able to tackle these problems, then this probably you don't really need like heavy supervision and stuff like that. It depends on how good you get into in the daily operations that you do. Sometimes you have to even watch the senior developers. That's the truth. Sometimes CTOs with over 20 years experience, sometimes they find errors in the code or bugs in the code of software engineers who are senior with 10 years of experience. Even that happens. So for software engineers, sky's the limit. You just have to be genuinely interested in that, because some people are in it for money. If you're in it for money, forget about it. You're not gonna make it. You have to truly love what you do, because it's like how I don't understand how can someone not love programming and just love the money about it, because it's like playing a game. You write the code and magically appears on the screen, or it's like writing a code and this somehow benefits people, and that gives you satisfaction from the job that you're doing. It doesn't just have to be money. Money will come. Trust me, you cannot avoid big money with programming. You will never avoid it. If you're good at what you do, it will come. But what you have to care most about is probably the fun time that you're having while doing this job, because you're not doing any heavy lifting. You're not a truck loader, let's say, right? You have to be thankful and grateful and enjoy it. Second, you need to care about your legacy. Legacy is important because imagine that you're making an e-commerce application that's used by 200,000 clients, and that's something that you've built to your name. So this is something that you can be proud of showing to your friends and family, saying, hey, these guys are, these operations is happening because I had my hand in it. This is legacy. It's very important. And third thing could be money. And you, like I said, if you're skillful, if you love what you do, and if you're genuinely interested in that, you cannot avoid the big money with programming.
I think you can relate these principles to any industry.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, if you are there for the money, and I think I wanted to briefly talk about that part. I wanted to basically get your outcome, get your opinion about leadership, right? So now you have your own business, you're an entrepreneur, you're not only a software developer. So there are software developers, they just sit, they code, they don't work on themselves, they don't evolve. All they want to do is just be comfortable, don't learn further, make the money like you said, and just become and stay developer. And there are actually, developers as such, where they want to move forward, they want to get to the next level, they want to open up their own company, they want to, they don't just want to code for someone. And so I think that's basically difference between an entrepreneur and working for someone. So now you have your own company. You're doing, you're basically shuffling or playing under different hats, multiple projects. Shall we talk about your next move and the stuff that you're planning for the future, the projects that you're planning for the future, and also if you want to mention your company?
I mean,
it's totally up to you.
My company is relatively new, and I cannot even call it fully operating yet. I do have, a few projects that I'm looking into, but it's not like we are at full-fledged and full scale going at it. It's yet to come. I'm taking one step at a time, and there's a lot of other things now. Just like I mentioned, I'm into ML ops and Python now for artificial intelligence. So I need to focus on that because I also have a day job. I have a lot of duties. I have family, and I also need to find time for that, which is very important. So my next move is probably, advancing my skills. That's very important to me, again, to stay competitive both in labor market and if you want to do business. And I think for a software engineer who truly loves what he does, I think ultimately your own company should be your goal because, you never know. Maybe when you turn 60, there won't be any company interested in you as a software engineer because people need fresh minds and somebody younger. Unfortunately, with all due respect to the elderly people, that's the reality. That you cannot deny. So eventually, what makes your retirement is something that you are skilled at. You can utilize to shape your retirement and to make it easy for you. So I am employed now. I'm extremely happy where I am. I'm a senior software engineer at that place. I've had a number of key features to my name, which, like I said, are used, throughout the world. I'm planning on doing a good job, continuing to do a good job, and keep benefiting where the place that I am employed at right now. I want to finish my Python and ML ops course, and then I want to work on, the company to shape it up, like what direction it will take and stuff like that, because it's relatively new. So those would be my probably my goals for the nearest future.
And do you have any recommendations, suggestions for people who are getting into this industry or just getting started? What would you recommend? Let's say if you were just getting started yourself, I'm sure you went through a certain amount of job effort and you kind of shaped it up, and how would you start if you just turn the time back? What would you suggest for new upcomers?
I would say you have to pick the direction you want to take on. First of all, it's very important because if you do not know where is your B, which where is your A, that's where you stand now. To get it from A to B, if you don't know where your B is, chances are you will not find the road, right? I think it's pretty obvious. And you have to know where you ultimately want to get to, and then you have to kind of pave your way to that final destination of yours. That's number one. Second, you have to be persistent, because if you are on and off on this, it's not gonna work. Because as you said, brain is a muscle. If you don't code for one day, you may easily forget what you did yesterday. And that happened to me when I took a break. I did not remember a thing. So you have to choose your path, and then you have to stay focused and stay determined. And at some point, you even have to sacrifice some, venturing out with friends, get-togethers and stuff like that. I sacrificed all of that. Even in our boot camp, our instructors told us, if you want to make it happen, first thing that you need to do, turn to your friends and family and tell them, I need some, I need some support. I need understanding. If I refuse to go out with you, it's not because I don't want, but because I'm on a verge of career change. Please understand. I need your support. I need your help. Cheer for me. Be happy for me. Support me. Welcome me if I'm sad, if something's not working out. This is me for the next 5 months. Please embrace it and adapt to it. And pretty much this is what we did. There were no venturings out for me, no hangouts, nothing. I like I said, like laptop was my lover for all I care. I was waking up to my laptop and I was going back, going back to bed with a laptop.
Digital relationship.
Yeah.
Exactly. So those are my advice to people who are trying to get into it. And the final thing is probably you have to have principles in here. For example, to me, I care. I care I care about the projects where I'm earning and through which I'm making the income. I have taboo topics. I will never get into gambling applications, casinos, online casinos. I refuse. There were cases where people offered them, and the money is insane. But I cannot live with that. I cannot have it in my portfolio. Number two is adult content. I was offered that as well, big money, but I will never do that because again, that's totally against my nature. I don't want to do that. Darknet, because drugs are all over the darknet. We're never getting into that. So you have to have solid principles, like something that you will step into, something you will not. And if you do, nobody can judge you, but you have to live with that. And chances are, I have a very solid portfolio. If somebody saw, from the next employer, whatever, or even when it transitions to your company, somebody sees that you have a reputation of a person who built 18 plus adult streaming website, who would ever want to hire you with such a reputation? Only companies that are kind of in this industry. You will be known as the guy who can do this kind of stuff, but never the normal. So you have to have solid principles for yourself.
Very solid answers.
Solid answers, very inspiring, motivating. I think we learned a lot in today's episode from our guest, Firuz, aka CJ. And I think it's really a great time to conclude everything we heard here. And it's good to conclude with some, some interesting ideas.
So let's make a point here. What would you say our viewers should get from this podcast, and just your overall experience and how important is this, what we're doing here for them? We can kind of call ourselves mentors. We're trying to offer them a mentorship, information as much as we can when we're bringing guests, visitors from different industries. So it is an online version, YouTube version, podcast version of a mentorship. So based on this, what would you say, what would be your point to the viewers?
As brief as possible.
Okay, I will try to make it concise and to the point. First of all, IT is future-proof. No pandemics, no crises, nothing. It's extremely profitable. If you are good, it's extremely profitable. Number three, you don't have to memorize a thing. You don't have to have a great memory. You have to have determination. Number four, career changes are not scary, even at the age of 40, as long as, given proper determination and motivation. Number five, stay true to yourself, develop solid principles. If you want to do something, develop a plan and stick to it. And number six, I think, have no fear, absolutely, because fear is what's killing you inside. This is your own brain limiting you from doing what you want. So there is nothing such thing as fear. If you do not believe in something that does not exist, it will never affect you. So keep going, keep pushing, and stuff like that. And finally, I want to say thanks to my wife for always supporting and being by my side.
Love that part. Yeah,
it's almost like I was at gunpoint at this.
It's like she's watching somewhere out there. Gotta do this.
I'm like at some gunpoint right now.
But CJ, Firuz, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. We had such a great time, great conversation, incredible talk. This discussion was amazing. We grabbed impeccable information. It was a mesmerizing experience overall, and I hope we're gonna do this again. And we do have some future plans that's coming up, and we will announce that soon. We do have some travel plans. We do have some travel podcasts, and overall, man, we we had fun. We had so much fun. And
That
we've
was
been
awesome.
Waiting for this moment. We've invited him some time back, and we were
Now
excited.
finally we have it.
Yeah,
we have him
we
here.
were excited because we knew that this information would be mind-blowing. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being such a determined, such a focused developer, IT professional that's contributing his skills, knowledge to the industry, and also sharing his information and knowledge with outsiders or whoever is trying to get into this industry. We loved it, man.
Thank you so much, guys. I absolutely, I'm humbled, and thank you very much for having me. I had a great time as well, because it's always refreshing and useful to talk to like-minded people. Plus, we all understand each other, and we are on the same page on this. It was a great conversation. I had a great time. You just made my Sunday, which I extremely appreciate. Thank you, guys, and I think we can do it again at some time.
Definitely.
Definitely.
We should do it more often. Thank you so much, guys.
Nice, did you?
Yallah.
Kale. Bulalım. Yoğurt dışarıdayım.
Çötki, malatsi. Rahmat kattakon, rебят. Zor çıktı. Çötki böyle. Çötki. Zorla verip sizlerle.